So hi everybody and welcome back to Unreal Engine 5 full game tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 82, and in this video I have to do again something for footsteps, and that is the cold step, because there are some problems and that's why let's make it. Alright, let's get into it. So first of all, in our last video we stopped where I showed you here the the creation of our footsteps. We created a trace. Then we break this in a hit result, and then we created here the construct where we added the sounds, and then we selected this one, and here we spawn. But you can see I have not made here a cold step, and that makes problem for some users. So let's do this one. How we call actually, and the bigger question, the more important question is where we call it, and that is a problem because you have to find the right place, and the right place you can find when you go to your player character. What I mean with that, it is your player. What is the player character? This is normally your main character, so you can go here to world settings. If you have not the settings here, you can go here to window and then click world settings, and then it pops up this tab. Then you can go to world settings, and then you have here in game mode a section with settings. And important is here it says default pawn class. When you click on this, you can see it open up here my character, my main character, and you can see we did all things here in it, and almost all. This is not in general not good, but okay. Important is that you have a character. And then let's go back again to this world settings. You can see we have here some other things as well, and the important one is this player controller class. And when I open this one up, you can see I press this magnitude item, but nothing comes up. And the reason for that is in many cases many just skip this class or let it open so you can implement it. What I mean with that is these two places are the main places where they implement the input of the character. And what I mean with input is when you press WSD to move around, then you can move, and this movement component is implemented in, like I said, in horror character. This is this one here, or in this player controller. And in this horror engine they made it in the character. No, and like I said, normally you would not do this here because the normal way is the player controller. And the question is, why are they doing then it in the horror character? The reason is very simple. For single player games or for little games, it doesn't matter if you make it in the main character because it's okay. There is no problem. But if you have, for example, a multiplayer game, or you have let's say spawnings and deaths of character, it can cause problem if the controls are not working. And that's why in most cases they separate it. They put in the player controller, which means if your character dies, doesn't matter, you have still the controls here for other things, for example in option menu or something like that. All right. In this case, it doesn't matter because it is just a single player game and you have the character and they put all the settings in. So the next step is let's find out what the movement component is, because the movement component is when we start here, for example, the game.
Let's see if I find
and I
this
press W, you can see I can move, right? And this movement is with a keybind. Also, let's say in this game I have to press the W key to move forward. So this key binding is anywhere saved in this engine, right? And this place you have to find first. So how we do this? You go here in File, you go to Project Settings, open up your project settings, go to the engine, and there is an input. You click on the input, and then you have here all the input settings here. There are two main things: action mapping and axis mapping, and the input is axis mapping. I will not go now too deep in this because you have to watch tutorials how this works and so on, but in general here is it saved. This horror engine has here many things. You can see normally there are only 4 or let's say 6, because these are the main things. And it is the up key. You can see my W key here, and the name is move forward. That's very important. You give it a name, and they have assigned it the key binding W. For example, when I press W, again, here you can see, when I press here W, I can move forward, and this is exactly that. So you found now that the W has the name move forward. That's very important. Then you have now find this name here, move forward, in your game where you make it. Again, where you have to look to find it, like I said before, 2 places, character, normally 2 places. Of course, you can put it in any place, but normally it is the character, or more of a better place would be normally the player controller. But the player controller, like I said before, they skip, so they have less work probably. All right, so we go in our character, and important is this character must have now implemented this character movement component, because this movement component handles all the movement that's on the side. But now, like I said before, you have just to find now this word here, because this word must be implemented now there anywhere in your Herald engine. How you can find it? There are different ways. You can search, but that takes too long. So let's press Control F. This is find results, and let's try to write here this move forward, right? Let's write here just move forward and try to find it. Move forward. And you see I found it. You double click it. It is here. So this is the mapping of this one. Move forward W is here called. When I press the W key, here is called. So, and why I'm telling you all this kind of stuff, because when I press move forward, then I want call exactly this here. This is the footstep, right? This should make a sound. So again, we go back, demonstrating, starting, showing. So I press now W, and when I press W, you hear nothing now, right now, because I have not connected it. I have all disconnected, no sound, but I press W. So when I press W, it should call also the sound, this footstep sound. All right, let's go there and connect them. So we found the place. We've known that we found this place here. And now we have the right place. Important is here that you find this node, because you can see this is the axis which is connected to this one here. It will call this one, and this one is connected to this node. This is add movement input, and this movement input is the reason why you are moving forward. And that's it. Almost. After this movement input, I want call now the function, this sound function. You can call it, by the way, even before that, because probably you will move, but yeah, depends. But this is the place where you call it after. It's better. So let's say here you can see the horror engine here. They call it okay, I made here already something. They call it here. So this is what they made here in the horror engine. After this one, he called the function. This one, he is using a function. That is the function which I showed you all the time. But in this function, he has 2 different functionalities in. That's normally not a good thing, but it makes a less work probably. Normally, you should make the head shake in a different function, so it is more clear. But here is the thing also what I try to explain you a little bit. And here is that, which is now, of course, not here called. You can see the function is here called. This function here is this one. This when he calls this function here, this one is called. And you can see here the white line. The white line is calling later all the stuff here. And all the stuff here looks complicated, but it's just the thing what I explained to you before. This one. So to make it a little bit more clear, what we can also do is just copy this one here, Control C. I press Control C. This is the thing what we already talked. Let's go back. Instead of calling here a function, let's paste it directly in our character. So you can see the function what he calls is another place, horror, and it's on a horror engine. But you can make all this kind of stuff here directly in your character as well. Most time they avoid this because the character gets too much functionality and the performance issue, and that's why you should make something like that perhaps on the controller. So not all, but you can see the character here has actually no code in it, so no problem for our case normally. So let's copy this one here. Control V. I pasted that, what I explained to you now here. Now you can see there are some nodes which are not working. When I press here compile, you can see it compiles, but you can see this is not working. It's not set. What you can do is very easy. All the nodes which are not working, you go in, right click, and then let's see, create a variable, and then you careful, you have here two right clicks. That's strange a little bit, but you have to get used to it. Oh, what's that? Anyway, you can what is that? Don't know what that is. Okay, here are two clicks. So one is here, you can see there it's nothing, and then here on the corner, create a variable for footstep. So you see I created now this variable here, compile, and then you can see now I have the default values from before. And sometimes there are errors here, for example, the error. Then when you see an error, right click on the arrow and create here variable. Most time the errors means you have not the created variable because you have used copy paste and they have created variables in other places or references and something like that. So anyway, we have now all the code what we created before now in our character. Now I'm in the character, and like I said, here I call it, instead of making now a function on a separate place, I can call this one here directly if I want after this one here. You can see I skip this one here and say, okay, let's call it here. So when I call this one here, you can see instead of his function, I call it now this one, which is essentially the same. We have a problem. First of all, I need here the start end position. I copy his one. So you can see this is the one which he used, and here is the start end what he has. Let's copy this one and paste in. And you can see get play. Let's see, is this right? Get player pawn. We don't need to get player pawn because we are the player pawn now. This get player pawn means here get the player character in this case, but we are now the character. He used here another place, which is the horror engine, and of course he need the character. We don't need this, so we can kick this one out. Get actor location. Yes, we are the pawn, but the target, it says here, what is the target? We say self. Self means you. Is this here where you are the character? Yes, this is my character, so I can use the self here because this is my character, right? This is the character who has the movement component in it. And then we have just to connect this one here. So first of all, here is start, and here is again calculated like before. I showed you this one. This is not too difficult. I hope you can make this one. And they use minus 150. So with that, we have set the first two values. The next value is, you can see this sphere has here a radius. Let's make also a radius, the same thing what they use. Just set 30. Okay. And we are almost finished. Let's see. They have also trace complex, I think. I don't know if this is really needed, but whatever. And then we need more things perhaps. And the problem here is with this one, when you press this forward key, this will short a lot of times. And what I mean a lot of times, let me show you that. There are many, let's see if I find this cultist. Now it sounds strange, but careful. No, it sounds not at all. So the question is, wait a minute, there comes no sound. Why? And the reason because there is no sound is because my option menu here is not finding the right index, because I made here just fun things, and the output here is not here, which means we can check how you can check what here is an output. There is a way. What is the way? You make just here here F9 for debug, and then I show you this fast. Let's make this one as well. Let's see if I find this call. All right. The debug comes here, and now the debug is here. I can check here backwards, and you can see here when I go here over with my mouse, it's going here, and it has here found something, but what it has found right now is default physical material, and you can see I have here dirt and grass and no default physical material or something like that. And yeah, you have to find the right surface or the surface must be here selectable. In my case, it's not even selectable because I have not all made right. I can solve this. Let's say I want dirt here, and the dirt should be my default, and this will be called now. And now the next arrow, this one will fix it in my case, but you should make it right. So all names which all possible outputs must be here, and then assign the right sounds there. All right, let's go in. And the problem is when I press forward, this is the other problem what I want to show you. They are updated in 1 second over, I don't know how many frames, but let's skip this F9 again. If you make here this debug with F9, press F9 again to get rid of it. And then we go there, start this one. Let's see if I find this. Oh, you heard it? That was an update of the sound many times when I press V, and this is not good. So there are different solutions. I thought here we are not in a function, so you can see he's using a function. I thought, hey, let's make a delay, but I found with a delay there is a problem. Let's make a delay still to show you this fast delay. And let's say instead of updating every frame which comes in, let's update just let's say 0.3. So every 300 milliseconds instead of every, I don't know how many times. So let's make this again with a delay. Let's see if I find this cultist. And you hear that this is my strange dirt sound. But the problem with this one is, with the delay here, is this delay is working with an after sound. So you have to find a way to get rid of the last sound. I think let's make here, for example, now 0.5 to hear it a little bit clearer. Let's see if I find this cultist. So you see, it works anyhow. The problem is when I stop pressing V, it makes one more sound. W, I mean. Then it makes one more sound, and that is a little bit annoying. Of course, you can find now here some tweaking and find a way with delay as well. But I go not into this because that's your job to find it. Or what you can do is you can just copy what he got. And like I said, he got a system which works in functions, which will work here as well. Let's do this one. And how the system is, that was this thing what I showed you here. He used here a system which checks the footstep and sets here back later, and then it will update it every footstep, a certain footstep. So what we can do is just copy this one again. Now let's copy this one because I want just use this ignore we don't need actually, but whatever. We need just here. Let's skip this ignore for now. Let's just copy here this branch. Let's copy this one. Let's go to our character and let's see. Instead of delay, we are using now this one, and we're connecting in this one here. This is just for this little time. It's like a not timer, but a footstep realizer and then the updater. Anyway. So what you can do here is here again we have here this names which will not work, so right click again on them, create variable, here create variable, this one, then here create variable, also this one. So they are updated. Then we connect it from here again. This is the call place here. And what we can do now is this will not work because we need one more thing. And one more, let's see what he is doing, by the way, so much. Get player pawn, get movement is moving on ground. Okay, this one we can shorten up because we are the player itself. We are the player. So the movement component is here. So we don't need a get here. We can just get this one here. This is the movement component, and you connect it. You see, we have now the movement Control Z. We have now the movement component. That's why we don't need this. And let's see what he's doing here. Again, get player pawn, get actor location. Because we are again the character, we don't need get this one. Get actor location self is okay. That's okay. I don't know if this is working, but here, current food location. We need to create this variable. I don't have this, I think. Have I current food? Yeah, I created already. Good. Let's see this one, what he's doing here. Yeah, he step size. I think this one I don't have. Oh, yes, I have, but I have not assigned the right value because he has here default value. Let's go here and check his default value. So when you click on it, you can see he's at 125. Let's copy this one and paste it in. Okay, first let's compile because it should all work. Then here, 125. That's fine. And with that said, yeah, the last thing what we need here is to check it all time after a refresh. We have to set it here after we are finished, right? So that's he's doing this as well. So you can see after all is finished from this one, he is setting the current food location from this trace. Let's do the same. So we can do the same. So you see, I just copied that what he already have just here, but I show you additional time what he is doing, so don't worry, it's not so complicated. It looks only much. It's easy actually when you understand it. All right, let's do it. So we go here, we go here. This was its location, I think. Normally I can get actual location. I don't need this one because anyway, we can make it from here, and then we set the current food step. So you make here just set, so you get it from here. This is the current food location, and let's see what he used. He used here out hit location. Okay, let's use out hit location too. And have we an out hit location? We have a location. Why here is our out hit location? Out hit invoked. I don't know. I see only a hit location. Sphere trace by channel. Yeah, that's not so important. Yes, it says anyhow all out, but it's not so important. It's the same, I think. Here we write location. This is the same. And then you can connect it here at the end if you want. And we are almost finished. So you can see I did literally nothing here. I just copied that what he has. But I did this only because to avoid this strange updates, right? He made here a nice system and it works, so take it. So he made it for free. You have just to understand it, and this will work probably. This is nice, so you can use this. So compile save, and you can see now. Let's try this one again. This is working. Let's see if I find this cultist. You can see now it works. So it is working. The curl, I press forward, but you can see it works not sideward. Why is not working sidewards? So when I press AD, because I have not assigned it, because here, let's go back again in our input setting. Forward is W or up, or S is backwards. You can see that, but sideward move right is AD. Important is this one is implemented also here in the movement section. Let's go to our character. Let's go to movement. You can see again, you can press Ctrl F to search it. You can see, but you will not find move backwards. So again, move forward is this one, but forward and backwards. So that's very important that you notice, not that you try to find a backwards. There is no backwards because they realize the movement in forwards and backwards in one call, but have here different values. Forwards is 1 and backwards is -1. So if you search forwards and backwards, it's just one call. It is this one here. And if you search right and left, it's also one call. In this case, it is called just move right. But careful, it is also move left because they made it again in one call. And so you have to go here, find your right, and you can see move right is here, and you have now to connect this move right as well here to the same thing here. Move right goes here instead here. Can disconnect this one and has to go here as well in this place. And now when I make this one here, play from here. Let's see if I find this cultist. Now I can go here, I can write and now it works in all directions. Of course, the sound is not right. Of course, you have to figure out which sound should be this one and all this kind of stuff. But it works. You can see I literally just copied that what he has here in this function. This looks here. This is normally exactly the same thing. Only this part, like I said, this one is just camera shake. He put this both in. I literally copied this part here, just here, to show you the call. The call is just this one here. And you can see this is, again, this is location. This whole thing here, what I showed you here, is just to avoid this many frames which are fired here. And yeah, that's so the way to make this. I think that's also good. He avoided so the sphere trace, so it is avoiding all time the sphere tracing. It is after you have this certain amount of step here, then it will fire this sphere trace. All right, I hope you understand this one. Now you know where you call it, and this one is normally the thing what you have later. And again, the only difference about his version and this version here is he is putting all this one, what you see here, what you see here in a function. And how you can even put this one in a function. What's that? Right here. You can put all this kind of stuff here in a function as well. But here in your horror character function, so you don't have to do this. And there is an easy trick. Just select all, right click, and then you can say collapse node, collapse to function, this one here. Collapse macro, and read this before you made this one here, right? This is just collapsing, but I show you this one here, collapse to node. You can see now it's just one node. And let's make Control Z to go back. First this one, Control Z, please go back, yes. And then you can make a function as well. If you like a function, collapse to function. You can see now we have exactly a function like him, but the difference is his place in some other place. This function here is in character, which means you can find this character here directly, which is also nice. And you can see now we have also something very short here. And when you double click on it, it's all here. And you can see now it's called here. Of course, you have just named the function, but here is it. And yeah. And what I can show you more is, let's see what we have here more. Let's go back first. Let's go to event graph. I have to show you one more thing, perhaps. Let's see, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z here. There is one more thing what you can do. Instead of using a function, perhaps here, you can make here an event, custom event, which is all time good. Right here, right click, custom event. I write it just for test purposes, test. And then you would just connect this one here, but you can see now you can't connect it here. What you do is just call this custom event, right? You are just calling this one. So here you call test. And then here's the test and the same thing. It looks now like a function. The difference is the custom event here has a little bit more possibilities than a function, because a function you can't use timers. In a custom event you can see it's just another place. You can call your timers, delays as well. In a function you can't call a delay, cause problems and something like that. But yeah, there are different ways. Make that what you like most and think it's suited for you. And I almost have to clean all the mess now up, but I hope you understand it. Anyhow. All right, so what do we have here? Anyhow, I will clean this later up. So if you have any questions or anything else, write in the comment section. But I think now I will stop here really with the footsteps. Right now you should understand how to make the footstep. If not, you have research on your own, because I won't go on now with the main things. I will reset this all back to this one here, because in my case I just use that what they have, and optimize it perhaps or perhaps not, depends on my needs. And yeah, With that said, good luck and see you in the next video. And like old time, have fun and never give up. Bye.